as I sat over there this morning and looked out among you, I saw all seasons of life, I think, in this group. Maybe not the very first season, but I have seen many seasons of life in this group this morning. You know, you have to go through a lot of seasons before you get to the season that I'm in now, because I'm well aware of the season that I'm living during this time. But as I thought about what I would say, I thought about the other seasons of my life. Each has had its joys, but each has had its challenges also. And each season built on the previous one. The spring of my life was spent with a loving family. Mom, Dad, 4 brothers, 2 sisters, and me, the baby. We had lots of fun. But my dad died during this season of my life. And this was my first challenge. Then in the summer of season, I committed my life to Christ. The last 3 lines of The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost says something to this effect. 2 roads diverged, and I took the one that made all the difference. And I think that's exactly what happened with this decision of mine. The autumn of my life was the time that I saw the results of my summer season and brought much joy. My children grew up, but certainly in this summer season, when I married, started my working life's work of teaching school, had those 2 children, and started my family. The autumn season was the time to see the results of that summer season and brought much joy. My children grew up, they chose their professions, they married, and gave me 3 grandchildren. Now I'm a granny. Now I could have fun and send them home. But with all this joy, this season had many challenges. The first was the empty nest feeling when each of my daughters left home. The death of my husband, my mother, all of my brothers and sisters occurred during this autumn season of life, and each one was a challenge. Even though it's hard to know when one season is over and another begins, I am well aware that I am living now in the winter of my life. This season has had its fair share of challenges. I've had to learn so much that I never expected to, such as living alone, being responsible for the upkeep of all property, yes, even keeping gas in my car. Would you say I was pampered or lazy? Then too, I've had to learn to walk a little slower and more carefully, not to climb ladders, and and not even to use a chair for a short time, even though I do this sometimes. I just don't care. I'll try to get up if I fall. If not, my neighbor across the street will find me because she keeps close check of me. In this season, the memory starts to go. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 trips in a room before I remember why I went there. And names are a real challenge. I never forget a face, but names are another story. But let me tell you what I do remember. I remember when young people were embarrassed to wear ripped jeans. I remember when you had Sunday clothes and everyday clothes, shoes too. I also remember when you could spend a nickel and buy candy and share with your friends. The greatest challenge I have had this season came this year when my oldest daughter died after a 6 months battle with cancer. With God giving me strength, I continue to deal each day with this challenge. But this season has brought me much joy also, for I made the decision that I was going to have fun, even though I'm old. Let me share some of my fun time. Children have always been important in my life. And in this season, 3 great grandchildren have come into my family. They live close to me, so there's lots of grand time. I still substitute at the elementary school, where I spent most of my working years. I take a regular turn in my church nursery. And when I go to Crossroads, the children who live there and I have lots of fun. Having lived this long has given me a great collection of friends, both young and old, and more time to visit shut-ins and nursing homes. In this season, I did one thing I wanted to do for a long time. I rode a motorcycle. Ribbon Pod provided me with this fun time at Crossroads. Also at Crossroads, I went to the Rock, where I exclaimed with all honesty that I was glad God let me live long enough to see that majestic view. Last, but certainly not least, I continue to have much joy teaching Sunday school and participating in missions that carries God's love around the world. I count it all joy to serve as WMUV Director for Stanton River Association and to be a member of the Advisory Board and the Board of Trustees for the Women's Missionary Union of Virginia. There's a poem that many of you are probably familiar with. I'll not read it all, but it's called You Tell Me I'm Getting Old. And as that poem progresses, it talks about that you tell me I'm getting old. But really, you just see the house I live in. You don't see what's on the inside. But down near the middle of that poem, it touches on the next part of my life, where it says, my few short years can't make me old. I feel I'm in my youth. Eternity lies just ahead, a life of joy and truth. I'm going to live forever there. Life will go on. It's grand. You tell me I'm getting old. You just don't understand. So, this has been a great journey and continues to be, filled with joys and tears, but with faith and God's grace. I know He's still working on me to make me what He wants me to be. So each day I look up, I look in, I look around, and I remember tomorrow is another day. May God be glorified.